if your child is struggling with anxiety, please know that you aren't alone. It's actually a really common thing that I feel like has been around forever, but is just more spoken about now. Today I want to spend 10 minutes with you to give you a tip as to what to do so that you can stop waiting until your child is hitting meltdown point. Because, hey Lucy, hey Eunice, meow, meow. What a meltdown is a cry for help. A meltdown is a very loud cry for help. And it really is information for us that it's gone too far. So if a child's constantly melting down, constantly feeling angry, constantly having these emotional outbursts, it's information. It's like, hello, something's not working. And what's happening is your child's emotions have gone into overdrive. You know what it's like when you have an emotional outburst. It's gone too far for you. You've missed a step. You haven't reached out to somebody. You haven't been asking for help. So many women do this. I coach women, always predominantly mums, in my 6-month coaching program. And they're just learning now how to ask for help before it gets to the point of meltdown. So what you would want to do is help your child find ways to reach out to you for help before they get to their meltdown place. So it isn't just about what's going on with these meltdowns, how do I stop them, my daughter's wrong for having them, what's wrong with my son. I want you to push that thought to one side, hey Sarah, and ask yourself a different question, which would be, what am I missing? What have I not learnt yet? What's missing here? There's a missing piece. We're talking about meltdown, Sarah. So it isn't about how do you stop them, what's wrong with my son because he's always melting down. The question really is, where's the missing link with me? What's the piece of information that I'm missing? And I'll share a story, quick story with you. You've probably heard me share it before, but I felt inspired to share it again today. I, about 7 or 8 years ago, was caring for a boy who had autism within the classroom. And we were in the playground, and I didn't know a lot of the stuff that I know now. I'd learned some things, but I didn't know the things that I know today. And something happened. He was playing football and he got angry and he started to have a meltdown, emotional outburst, whatever you want to call it. And I said, you'll be okay, you're okay. And he said, I'm not okay, in that tone, and shouted back at me. I was the one that was in the wrong there, because I didn't have the information that I have today, and he didn't feel heard by me. If I say to you, if I'm screaming and shouting, which is basically saying, help me, I'm struggling, and you said to me, oh, you're okay, Jen, you'll be okay, you're basically saying, I'm not hearing you, and I'm not listening to you, and I don't understand you. And that's what I said to this little boy. I said, you'll be okay, totally not validating how he felt, but I didn't know how to. So this isn't like, well, didn't I do the wrong thing? I hadn't yet learnt it, but I did do the wrong thing. Not wrong as in I was bad, just wrong, it didn't work. And I didn't know what to do. I felt so helpless, and I felt so anxious in that moment, because I thought, oh, well, I've just pulled out the bag the best tool that I thought would work here, and when it didn't, I didn't know what to do next. Tap the heart if you can relate to this as a parent. If you're like, I actually don't know what to do. I feel like I'm walking around on eggshells. I feel like I don't know what to say to you to help you. I don't understand you. I certainly experienced this as a kid myself. So I've experienced it all the way around. I've done it to somebody because I hadn't yet learned the information that I needed. And I've also had adults do the same thing to me, where they've just looked at me and blank face, like, I don't know what to suggest. And it's really frightening when somebody looks at you and says that, because children expect adults to have the answers. And here's the thing, like, we don't always have the answers. We're always just learning and doing our best. But for your child to feel emotionally safe, they do need somebody to go to. And that's the bottom line. They're melting down and they need somebody to go to. They need a safe space. We all need this, children and adults. We all need to feel heard and understood by somebody. It actually gives us a real sense of peace. So, I'm just looking at my notes here. Here's a couple of things you can do to avoid it getting to the point of complete meltdown. Because by the time it gets to meltdown, you've missed the point. Does that make sense? You've missed something. You weren't listening. You missed something. Hey Rebecca, when your child gets to a point of meltdown, you have missed something. Rebecca, you're going to want to watch this back on replay. Just shared a story that you might relate to. When somebody else is melting down, we've missed the point. We didn't check in with them early enough. And children don't know how to do this until we teach them. They're not the one that is supposed to have all the answers. We're the one that can go out and learn the information and then teach children how to ask for help. And as I say, this is something that you probably didn't learn yourself as a kid. 90% sure that you didn't. And in my coaching group, this is what happens. I'm teaching women how to ask for help. Sarah here is in my 6-month coaching group. Maybe she can chip in on this. Do you relate to this, Sarah? Being in my group, as you know, learning how to reach out and ask for help. We didn't get taught it as kids, so we're learning as adults how to do that. But it's only when we learn how to ask for help that we can then teach children how to do it. So when a child gets to a meltdown point, they don't know how to ask for your help, you're the one that's missing some information because they clearly were trying to tell you something prior to the meltdown in some way. I don't mean they were saying, Mummy, XYZ. They were showing you through their behaviour that they were struggling already. And when they get to emotional meltdown, it's because it's gone too far. So let's just wrap this session up here with a couple of things that you can do. I'm going to invite you this week to notice your own child's signs that they're starting to empty out. They're starting to get close to an emotional meltdown. What's your son's behavioural signs of that? How does your daughter start to express it on her face? And you might be thinking, do you know what, Jen, I don't actually know. And that's okay, because perhaps you haven't yet been consciously aware of it. But I'm going to invite you to start working on this week and noticing, what are the signs? How does she start to behave? There we go. Sarah says eyes opening wider. So there you go. So when you then start to notice those signs, you can check in with them. Check in. How are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? And your daughter might say, I don't know. Just because she hasn't been taught about feelings yet. Or she might say, what are you talking about, Mum? Which is just another sign of, you've never spoken to me about this before. Do you know how many adults I used to do like meditation classes within schools, and I taught teachers as well, and I remember the amount of teachers in that room who I could clearly see had never learned how to relax before. They were so uncomfortable, and if we don't teach kids this from a young age, that's where they wind up. Exactly how I was, and probably where you are right now. Feeling depressed sometimes, feeling anxious, just not feeling happy because you don't understand your feelings yet. So check in with your child. How are you feeling? And if they say, I don't know, you can say, that's okay. Just checking in with how you're doing. They're still going to feel really loved by you by that. Physical touch, touching them on their shoulder, brushing their hair, eye contact. Hand on the shoulder, eye contact. How are you feeling right now? And even if they say, I don't know, or what you're talking about, Mum, that's okay. Just checking in with you. Just caring about how you feel right now. Can you see how, tap the heart if you can feel that through that language, how they would feel understood by you, like connected to you. Language is so important. We can't just say, I love you. It's not enough. You've probably heard me say that before. Change the activity. Where are you? Are you in a busy place? You can see, it's like Sarah says, eyes are widening. You can see they're starting to get angry. Okay, do we need to change this activity? Do we need to go home?